who like to listen to other people talk a lot about sports sometimes, and things that are not sports too. This is Channel 6.
Thank you, Kevin Murphy.
And thanks to everyone for coming out today to the Ann Arbor Public Library, which is, of course, I think, the foremost venue for several things. 1, podcasts. 2, casual reading. 3, belonging to your community. And 4, talking about shipwrecks.
I had planned at this point we asked these two to write bios of themselves for Rich there to introduce them. And both of them squalled in protest. And then I said, well, why don't you write each other's bios? And that made them even more upset at everything that might happen then. And then they both forgot to do either one. Now you have a new problem, which means I get to introduce both of you.
Okay.
You did ask for this.
Who introduces you?
Nobody. I'm barely here. This is Davos, baby. I'm barely here. All right. On your left, your right. That's Spencer Hall. Okay. He is the founder of Every Day Should Be Saturday. He is the founder of Channel 6. He is the author of an astonishing amount of college football writing and other stories from around the globe for going on 20 years now. To his right is Brian Phillips of The Ringer, of MTV before that. Of Grantland way before that, and the author of Impossible Owls, a fantastic book, and I'm not just saying that because I edited like a third of it.
Much of it,
Yeah. And the reason I'm introducing them is this. Raise your hand if you have no idea who any of us are. Hello, ladies. Thank you.
Yeah.
Thank you. Raise your hand if you've never heard the Shutdown Fullcast. Hello, sorry.
Yeah, that's okay.
You're welcome. Raise your hand if you were brought here by an unwilling partner, or if you are an unwilling partner who was brought here. No, oh, come on. Come on.
That's
You're
not,
so
no,
brave.
be proud, be proud.
You're so brave. We love you so much.
Yeah, we do.
Okay.
We're glad you're here.
Okay.
Yeah.
If you did get stickers, we have stickers at the back. We did last year's show on Memorial Day weekend, and we made a state champ sticker that everybody loved. That was the outlines of Michigan and Ohio mashed together with state champs written over the whole thing. And a lot of you who didn't make it to last year's show asked if we were going to have stickers for this year's show. The answer is maybe. We took all the extra ones we had, because for those of you who weren't able to get one last year, and put them in the bags, but we didn't have enough for all the bags, so you may or may not have gotten last year's sticker in your bag. We have brand new stickers in your bags this year. If you want to yell at anybody about them, you have to yell at them. You have to yell at Ron Nanny, who's not here. Do not yell at me, but you'll see what we mean. Reminder also that the library closes right after the show, so get out. We love you, but get out. We will be going to a second location after this. Seth from IngoBlog will be up at the end of this to give you guys directions, tell you where to go. Hope to see you there. We love you. We love the library. We want to let them keep us coming back, so we love you. Get out. Okay. Ready to get rolling?
Yeah, let's move. Yeah.
Time to tell everybody how pretty and nice they are? Mm-hmm. All right. Shipwrecks ranked. We have wanted to do this ever since 2019 when we did the first Shutdown Fullcast here in the basement. Who all was at that show? I see some of you here who were at that show. And we had trivia questions during that show. We had war trivia questions. And I think the point at which I knew we were in for it was I had the most pedantic Michigan fan I know. And I know that sounds redundant. I had the big, he's not here today, God bless him. Michael Elcon wrote these questions. And I thought we were going to stump everybody. And I think the point at which I knew we were in trouble was when I said, who can name all of the aircraft carriers that appeared in the Battle of Midway? And like a 12-year-old child popped up and said, do you want them in alphabetical order?
Go blue.
Go blue. And ever since then, we have wanted to do this show, which is Shipwrecks Ranked. And like any good engagement, there are rules. So before we get into this, before we go through our top shipwrecks, I would like to hear from the two of you of what do you value in a shipwreck? When we say best, what does each of you mean? Because something very interesting happened to us in a little bit that I'll get to when trying to rank these.
Well, you and I disagree on many things when it comes to shipwrecks, but I think we do agree on the most crucial element that makes a shipwreck great. What is that?
Sauce.
That's right, sauce.
You want a shipwreck that has some flair, you know? You don't like a shipwreck that has a story, a shipwreck that has style, a shipwreck that has a certain je ne sais quoi. I mean, that, plus it has to sink, right?
It's the other
Yeah.
thing too. Yeah, we want a story, we want some sauce, some panache.
Yeah.
But most importantly, I think too, just to get in the door, folks, the boat's got to sink.
Yeah.
At one point, it was a boat, and then it's not.
Yeah. If the ship goes up,
Yeah.
doesn't qualify. Yeah.
Also, an important clarifier. Some of you might be saying, are you prejudiced toward those boats that don't sink? Absolutely not. Sometimes they can crash.
Oh, yeah.
Sometimes they can be beached. Sometimes they can even just run aground.
I'm sorry, is this Founderings ranked?
Yeah, no, it is shipwrecks, but that is a form of wrecking, okay? It's not ship sinks, it's shipwrecks.
We have at least two, I think, that we're going to talk about tonight that exploded.
Yeah.
And for me, that's fine. That's great.
That's good.
Yeah.
Dynamic. Even.
Yeah.
Yeah.
The amount of laughter in this room is giving me comfort when he said ships exploding is fine. We were a little hesitant to actually pull the trigger on this show, but I had a feeling we would find a welcoming audience.
Yeah, so I want to say that when Holly first asked me if I wanted to do this, I was kind of thinking charity, helping people, is that my style? And then she said, well, you can also make inappropriate jokes about people who died horribly at sea. I said I'm in, yeah.
It's a wrap. It's done. Yeah. Which I will say on this, by the way, some in this room might go, well, how did I end up here? These people are going to be insensitive joking about those who have died. I wanted to make it very clear. I am an equal opportunity critic here. And by that I mean, if I should tomorrow end up on a ship that explodes.
Can't swim.
Yeah, that explodes, sinks, is hijacked and then sinks, or otherwise crashes, and that ends in my death. Every one of you need to clown my ass. All right, put it on my headstone, Lamau, okay?
I will say that we're thinking about taking the show, turning this into a touring show, maybe hitting some other cities, other countries. We're going to travel very slowly and by land.
Yeah.
Because this could go some really ironic directions.
Poseidon is waiting right there,
Yeah.
lightning bolt in hand.
We do have one apology to make, really to all of you. And Brian is not included in this, don't yell at him. Earlier this year on the Shutdown Fullcast, where we have never apologized for anything, you might note that we are from not here. I'm from Tennessee, Spencer's from Tennessee but lies about it, Ryan's from Tampa, Jason's from Georgia. It came to our attention earlier this year, and it's really y'all's fault because of how you guys talk about this thing. It never occurred to any of us that the Edmund Fitzgerald did not sink in like 1859. We didn't know.
We were not aware that bell bottoms were a thing.
We did not know.
When
we
the Edmund
found this
Fitzgerald
out,
sank.
We found this out live on the air, and I think spent 20 minutes listing things that were older than the Edmund Fitzgerald. Like Tang.
Which, you know what, I'm going to say this. We've all got regional blindness, okay? A lot of y'all don't know that Andre Rison's house got burned down by Chili from TLC.
No,
okay?
no, left eye.
Everybody knows that.
From left eye.
That
I've
was
got
a
another
test.
Chili
You
story I can tell you
passed.
afterwards to make up for that error. Yeah.
But sorry about that. Some people did get a little salty about that, and that is what inspired this year's sticker. So if you will open your sticker bags and check out our brand new sticker for this year, we have brought a commemorative gift.
Thank you. You will see that it is a sticker bathed in irony, because one might say, wasn't it a freshwater wreck? Yes, it was.
The salt is for the anger that was
Yes.
directed away.
Salt
I
life
left
is a state of mind.
I left the Encyclopedia Britannica watermark on there because I thought you guys would appreciate that. I thought you would want to know that I got a good map for that. Also, it means that we literally can't ever sell these because there's like 9 trademark violations in that sticker. So we're never going to sell this. This is yours. We're never making more of them because we'll probably get in trouble. Please enjoy. Sorry to the Edmund Fitzgerald. It also did inspire us to institute a recency cutoff.
Yeah, also because, I don't know.
We're not going to be talking about Ocean Gate. That's a shutdown full cast.
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah. Also,
Or
really.
in our future history show, the dumbest bitches of history.
Also a coattail rider, because it wouldn't
Didn't
even
want it.
had notoriety if it wasn't by the Titanic in the first place,
Yeah.
okay?
Yeah.
That's right.
That's it.
Locker room cancer.
11th man on an NBA championship roster.
Yeah.
That's what it was.
The one other parameter that I want to set out is we had a lot of discussion in the inordinate amount of thought that went into the show over whether and how to incorporate military action. You guys want to talk a little bit about your thinking there?
Yeah, I mean, to me, anybody can get hit by a torpedo. There's no, it doesn't take, special incompetence to get shot down. But there are cases, I think, where military action counts. I
Yeah.
mean,
In lieu of an actual principled answer, I think we can just say, if it was really cool, we counted it.
yeah, like,
Please don't remember the adjective cool when we show you what military actions we've included in this. Okay.
Yeah.
All right, with that, is this the slide? Are we ready to roll? Ready to roll? Yep, that's the slide because there's a cursor. All right. Before we get into the rankings, I swear I don't keep putting this off for a reason. I know there's probably one more question on everybody's mind. And it's the question that consumed all of us for most of the production of this show. What to do about the Titanic? It's the one everybody knows. It's a starter shipwreck. If you're interested in shipwrecks, it's probably how you got into shipwrecks. We kind of want to put it in an honorary Oscar situation over here. Like it's Tom Cruise, but we don't want to skip over it entirely without talking about it. So before we get into anything, fellas, let's hear about it.
I'm not familiar with that shipwreck. No, I mean, I think you can take this one. You had some thoughts.
All right. I'm in the wrong town to be saying this. Also, maybe the right town, because I know some of y'all are contrarians. Between us, Tom Brady ain't it. He's not. Like, whoever, he ain't it. Nobody ever went to a party and they're like, hey, you know what's going to set this off? Tom Brady. Like, nobody who was like...
Nobody denies its excellence, but there's no snap, there's no crackle, Spencer, there's no pop.
Yeah, there's no sizzle, there's no daring,
style.
right? Nobody
There's
ever
no
said,
there's
man...
no panache.
Yeah, man, nobody ever said, man, you remember that throw that Tom Brady made? Because you don't. You don't. Like, the dude was like making the perfect 7-yard completion every single time.
We're not Falcons fans, you can't hurt us.
No, does that make him great? Yeah, legit great. The one everyone knows. The brand name. Does that mean I have to care? No. Do I also have to acknowledge the greatness? Yes.
Yeah. And I think Tom Brady is really the perfect comparison here because a lot of people thought Tom Brady would never make it in the NFL. They thought it couldn't happen. And
They said it could be done.
a lot of people thought the same thing about the Titanic sinking, but it went out there and proved everybody wrong.
Shout out to the
And that's why you hold on to your dreams and you never let anybody tell you no.
Let's find the inspiration here, okay? People said, hey, it's an unsinkable ship. People said Indiana couldn't win a national title in college football. People said,
People said Michigan couldn't win a national title.
That's right. And yet, there we are, watching the film about it, celebrating it, remembering the noise that dude made when he falls in the movie from the top. And some of you already know this noise, right? It's the noise that the dude's head makes when it hits the railing on the way down. Like Foley artist lifetime achievement to whoever did that.
No, it's James Cameron. They literally threw a guy off the top of the boat.
Yeah. The guy was like,
He was
dude,
late with lunch.
It's like, I'm so happy to be part of this project. Boink. Yeah.
Yeah, I think we also want to celebrate the Titanic just for a second. Like, that ship sank, you know what I mean? That ship went, like, that...
It was a sinking ass sinking.
Yes.
Yeah.
That was not, it didn't, like, wobble down.
Yeah.
Like, that,
Yeah. Also, you know what? Life's about taking on hard challenges and doing hard things.
Yeah.
You know what's hard? Hitting an iceberg. It's big. You can see it from a long way away. Most ships avoid it, but not the Titanic.
That's right.
So we come at last to our rankings. That only took 19 minutes. I'm proud of us. We have 15 ships ranked for you today, and here is how we set out to go about this. AP style, I had Spencer and Brian separately compile lists of their top 10, and I then put them together to create a composite ranking where something really interesting happened. But for one, you guys had, I believe, your first 6 exactly in the same order.
The canon, yeah. The true classics.
Now, out of the back half of your list, only one ship was the same. So it sounds like you guys have the same core values when it comes to determining a great shipwreck, but then disperse in your lines of thinking. And so I'm really interested to get to that. But we're going to start at the top and go down because we might end up in a cul-de-sac and only get to 8 of these, and that's fine. And that just means we'll have to come back, so y'all better keep winning. But number 1 on our, sorry, Titanic, we love you, thank you, exit. Number 1 in our composite ranking, ranked number 1 by Spencer, number 2 by Brian, the Batavia.
Yeah, give it up.
Yeah.
Give it up for the Batavia.
You can clap, it's all right.
Yeah. So I'm going to give you the thumbnail sketch of the Batavia for those who are not big Batavia heads like Brian and I, okay? It has it all, okay? Does the ship wreck? Yes, it did. In 1628, this Dutch ship carrying 341 souls manages to wreck on a reef off the coast of Western Australia. You might go, hey man, 1628, that's crazy. What were the Dutch doing there? I don't know. That's Mars. Your name is something like Walter van Leeuwendyk or some really unpronounceable collection of mostly like consonants combined with like 8 O's. What are you doing there? All right, they might as well be on Mars. And they shipwreck. All right, so that's already like fairly dramatic. All right, 322 of them make it off the ship. Okay, because remember, nobody can swim and you can put your wooden shoes jokes right here. Okay, that's where they go. Okay, they get off, the captain goes and launches a rescue mission. He's like, I gotta go find fresh water and I'm gonna head on back to Batavia, which is, you know, modern Jakarta in Indonesia. And meanwhile, Pelsaert, the captain, goes off, and a company man by the name of Geronimus Cornelius. Yeah. And I wanna say, hindsight is 20/20, but if your name is Geronimus Cornelius and you're on that boat, you know he's the villain, right? Yeah.
Nothing good is coming from this.
Nothing good is coming from this dude. He has bad intentions. May have had bad intentions before it even started because allegedly was planning a mutiny during the voyage, which, Geronimus, I have to ask, man, you didn't even know where you were going. How are you planning a mutiny when you don't know where things are? You didn't know Australia was there. You didn't know Australia was Australian. You're like, I'll get the gold, and after that, stuff will be fine. So he begins planning this. He takes over the food. He takes over the weapons. He has a core group of goons who help him do this. And they are operating with this plan that the rest of them don't know about. He sends the only people who can fight on a mission that he thinks will kill them to go to another island and find water and food. So these 30 guys who are under the command of a guy whose name I cannot pronounce,
Viva Hayes? Yeah.
Viva Hayes,
Yeah.
They go to this island, and they're like, you light some signal fires when you find all of the water and food I know is over there, right, guys? And he's like, they're going to go die over there. That's fine. Then he takes over and starts what can only be called like the prequel to The Lord of the Flies. Bad things happen, okay, because he does the math and figures, hey, we have this much food and water to get through this, and I have this many people. Well, I know I can take care of the people. And he does that by having his goons kill them in like gradually more grotesque ways. This story is horrifying. All right, there are parts of it I will not talk about here because we are in a library. We all want to have a good time. Yeah.
Yeah, we'll talk about it at the after party.
Yeah. We'll fill you in on the rest in the after party. Now you might say, well, how long could this go on? I will tell you that rescue's not coming for a year. A year, okay? On islands off the coast of Australia, where technically nobody knows they're there, nobody knows where they are, and they have limited food and shelter and supplies. The 30 guys who go off to this other island, those 30 not only find water, they find abundant food. They're good. So Cornelius' plan is already backfiring because Idiot was like, yeah, surely they'll die. Meanwhile, they find like a McDonald's. They're so good. And they send up signal fires like, hey guys, yeah, we got it. Then after a couple of months, they notice that like people have swum. Like they've made their way over to the island. They're like, that's crazy. What are you doing over here? And he's like, yeah, that guy's a psycho actually. And he's killing everyone. It sucks. You got to do something about it. So what would you do? Me, I'm fine. I got 30 people. We're good.
We got our wallabies to eat.
We got our
We're
wallabies.
fine.
Yeah. I got enough sea lions here until I die. We're good. That's not what Weeba did, though. What he did was they made weapons, a fort, which is still there. You can visit it, okay? They made a little fort because they're soldiers, right? Wherever they go, they're like, well, we'll make weapons, we'll make a fort, right? It's very civilization coded, right? The game. And they do this, and they make a plan to take back the people who have been held hostage and who are being tortured and killed by Cornelius. And this takes a whole year of back and forth. In fact, the pitch of the battle, like the crux of the battle that they're fighting back and forth, happens just as Pelser, who meanwhile, in an entirely other epic story, has paddled in a boat with 43 other people who all make it back to Batavia.
Which is 3,000 miles away. They go 3,000 miles in an open boat.
Yeah, 3,000 miles in an open boat in 1628 to 1629 with really like no map. Like their map is basically like, here's where we crashed, and here's Batavia somewhere over here, right? This is literally like the Randy Moss down there somewhere.
100%.
Yeah, like we're gonna go that way. So he's managed to do that, go back, get help, and come all the way back with a rescue mission. The two groups at camp are fighting and are at a point where one of them is going to lose. And when they lose, they will die and die horribly. When the rescue ship comes in, they both see it and they both say, we have to get to him first and tell our story. And Cornelius is like, I really have to get to him and tell my story of what happened. Hayes' crew, the soldiers, make it first. And they tell the entire story with survivors who escaped, who back him up on everything, and then really bad things start to happen. Really, really bad things start to happen to Geronimus Cornelius.
Who, in fairness,
All of
richly
it!
deserve them. Yeah.
All of it, okay? Even if you didn't believe in the death penalty, you're like, some of that stuff definitely should have happened to him. Yeah, for this guy alone. So the trial begins, and they have a trial on the spot, in part because they're like, we don't have room on the ship for everybody. We're just going to have to kill some people here, because or worse. And there is worse, and that is the point of the whole story for me. So Cornelius has his hands cut off and is hanged, all right? In that order. So just to get, which again, it's the 17th century. This is bad. It's all very bad. And a couple of his guys also are executed along with him before they even get off of the islands where they were stranded, all right? There are two guys, and I'm going to tell you their names because they're historically important. Two of the mutineers who actually were really only guilty of fairly minor crimes relative to everyone else, right? Abetting torture and murder is pretty minor in this case. Jean Pelgrim de Bay and Walter Loos are left on the coast of Western Australia. Two guys. They're given supplies, a lot according to the accounts, and they are told, and I quote, to make themselves known to the folk of this land, unquote. They are never heard from again.
Those are the first two Europeans to inhabit Australia permanently.
Yeah. Congratulations, guys. We've got a job for you.
Permanently is very brief in this case.
It had to be brief. So you go, hey, if you were stranded on Mars with a psychopath, all right, and you might have had to work with the psychopath for political reasons, and you're found guilty of crimes committed while you were in that bad situation, being left on Mars would suck. And that's what happened to these two guys. They were left in the middle of Australia. What do I think about at 3 a.m. in the middle of the night when I wake up? I think about those two dudes looking at each other and going, oh no. Oh, no.
See, I think it's even worse than that, because I think they didn't know anything about Australia. They didn't know what Australia was. They didn't know what kind of wildlife, what kind of plants. I think they thought they got off easy. I think they're standing on the beach going, he just cut off those dudes' hands and hung them, and we're still alive. All we got to do is build a house, meet some native,
Yeah.
we've got it good. And then they took their first step into Australia, and 6,000 things killed them all at the same time.
Yeah.
Like, that's
I think they
dark.
achieved other firsts, like
Yeah.
first to find a brown snake.
Yeah.
Ah,
Yeah.
I wonder what that does. He found out. Yeah.
The first thing they saw, they said, oh, that's probably edible. No.
Not in the least. So that is why I have it number one. I believe that is why Brian has it number one.
Yeah, I mean, for me,
Brian did not have it number
I
one.
died
but
at
we'll
number
get to
two.
that.
I had it number two, but I very much respect the Batavia as a nightmare, really. The story of the Batavia produced what I think must be one of the most astonishing phrases in the history of Wikipedia. Which think about that for a second. I'm gonna read this. This is the phrase, and it's about Cornelius's reign of terror. So it's talking about how he didn't commit most of the murders himself. He didn't really kill anybody. He just convinced other people to do the killing and torturing for him. And the sentence is, Cornelius never committed any of the murders himself, although he tried and failed to poison. I'm sorry, it's not funny. To poison a baby. Which is, it is the rare sentence where you see the most extreme human evil paired with
Maybe
the
the
most
baby had bad
extreme human
vibes.
incompetence. Like,
Maybe the baby was unpleasant to be around.
could be. But like, first of all, there could be nothing more evil than poisoning a baby, right?
Mm-hmm.
On the other hand, how hard could it be?
Like, dude, you failed poisoning 101.
How do you?
Like,
His profession. He was an apothecary.
Yeah.
This man knew how to make poisons. He could anyway. Yeah, I think it's 1628 is so early. I mean, we're in this period before. Like, the reason they wrecked the ship in the first place is that no one had figured out how to measure longitude yet. So if you're trying to go to Jakarta from the Netherlands to trade spices, you just have to go for a while and then kind of guess when to turn left.
Then just hang a left, yeah.
And if you turn left at the right moment, you get to Jakarta, and if you don't, you crash into Australia, and that's what happened to them. So it's really just like...
I mean, imagine the sense of panic you feel when your phone dies or you've forgotten it, and you have to get 2 towns over.
Yeah.
They didn't have longitude, y'all. What were you doing, Holland? Like, what was up? It couldn't have been that bad. It couldn't have been that boring. But someone got on a boat and did that.
Yeah. Dark times.
All right. Number 2 in our composite rankings. 2 on Spencer's rankings, 3 on Brian's. The Sultana.
I love the crowd, by the way.
how
Not like,
many of you. I love how many of you just went, oh.
tell us the story of the Sultana. No, you're like, no, got it, done.
Target-rich environment.
So yeah, we need to go back to the days immediately after the Civil War. A bunch of Union soldiers taken prisoner in the South are being released. Dockyard corruption is not unknown in this time. So a captain of a steamship called the Sultana, which plies the Mississippi River between St. Louis and New Orleans, takes a trip south. He talks to a quartermaster at a freight yard he knows, who says, hey, we need somebody to take a bunch of prisoners of war back north. They've just been released. Can you do it? There's a little bit of money in it for you, and I'll get you a bunch of these guys if you give me a kickback. Like, it's an open bribery situation. So the captain, whose name is James Mason, says, totally, I can take all these prisoners north, and I'll give you 15% of the head money or whatever it is. His ship is allowed legally to carry 376 people. They put 2,000 prisoners on the ship. While he's having this, yeah, but wait, there's more. While he's having this little negotiation, they realize, oh, the boiler of the ship is broken. The boiler's not working. So they get a guy in to look at the boiler, and the guy's like, oh yeah, you need a whole new boiler. And they're like, how long is that gonna take? Well, that's gonna take a couple of days. If they wait a couple days, they're gonna lose all these prisoners, they're gonna lose all this money. They're like, that's not gonna work. So they just kind of put a little Band-Aid on the boiler and
We've all been there.
Yeah, I mean, yeah, we're going to be fine getting home, and then we'll deal with it.
You ever pour like a carbonated something out of a can into a glass and it starts to foam over, and instead of stopping, you get irrationally mad and just turn it all the way upside down and dump the rest of it in?
That's this. That's this if you're getting paid like a nickel for every ounce of fluid you pour.
Yeah, it was $2.75 for an enlisted man and $8 for an officer.
And that's a lot in 1865.
Yeah.
So they go back north. At a certain point, they're a little bit north of Memphis. I think they're about, 8 miles north of Memphis, 7 miles north of Memphis. It's 2 o'clock in the morning. The boilers explode. The ship blows up. This is one of our exploding shipwrecks. And the ship blows up. It's the biggest maritime disaster in American history, biggest shipwreck in American history. Nobody cares. And the reason nobody cares is that it happens on April 27th, 1865. The Lincoln assassination was April 26th. So the shipwreck gets totally overshadowed. And in fact, the Lincoln assassination indirectly causes the shipwreck because the captain of the ship, Mason, takes off south in a hurry before his schedule with a bunch of papers announcing the Lincoln assassination, thinking people in the South are
people got
to
to hear about this mess. This is going to be the biggest mess in my life today. Yeah.
And when he gets down there with the papers, that's when the guy's like, hey, you want to take all these prisoners? So I think my favorite thing about this disaster is that about 20 years later, in the 1880s, some of the very few people who survived started having reunions. They would get together and have Sultana Survivors Association meetings, and they just have an annual meetup and remember what it was like to explode on a steamboat together.
Is the cure to male loneliness.
That's right. Men will literally explode in a steamboat rather than go to therapy.
Besides the awesome scale of this, okay, there are a couple of facts I want to mention that just make it oh so piquant for me. There were 70 paying passengers on this ship. So have you ever been at a hotel and you find out that there's a convention there at the same time? And everyone's real salty because they're like, the gym's crowded and I didn't get the room I wanted. You should stop complaining. It could be much worse. Yeah. Additionally, I love that in this, people who survived it just floated down the river. So at 2 a.m. in Memphis, I want you to imagine, who's been to Memphis? Okay, at 2 a.m., the condition of people who are awake. It's not great. It's not very acute. I've been awake at 2 a.m. in Memphis. My condition was not acute or particularly great. So there's some drunk on the riverbank, and there's like 100 people in the water who are like, hey man, our ship blew up. Can you do something about it? And I just imagine that there's one drunk who's just like, man, there's a lot of people in the river tonight. It's kind of a party. Yeah. Like, I know that's what they thought, right? Like, for them, it's the disaster. It's like the worst thing that's ever happened in their life. For this dude on the bank, he's like, hey, that's crazy.
Whoa. Yeah, I've met people at 2 a.m. in Memphis. I would have chosen the river over. Yeah. I'm like, no, it's fine. Yeah, I'm going to float a little longer. You keep doing what you're doing.
Yeah.
All right, number 3. Oh, double act. HMS Erebus and HMS Terror.
Yeah.
Fellas, let's embrace debate.
This is actually, I feel like this is more your area of expertise because you have a greater fascination with British men freezing to death and starving in the Arctic.
Now, I know what you guys are thinking. Are we about to get mired in like a 10-minute argument about lead poisoning? Absolutely we are. That is what you signed up for.
Yeah.
That is why you are here. Fellas.
Yeah, I mean, you guys all know the Erebus and the Terror because they did a TV show about the Terror a few years ago, right? Like it was a monster. The Terror was stalked by a supernatural killer that got Lane Price from Mad Men, if I remember that show correctly. So 1845, there is a push within the British Admiralty by this elderly second secretary of the Admiralty who's about to retire, and he thinks, what would crown my career? Well, I could sponsor the voyage that discovered the Northwest Passage. We still haven't found it. We still have no way to get from the Atlantic to the Pacific without going all the way south and through South America. So we're going to sponsor a voyage to find the Northwest Passage. So they ask James Clark Ross, who had led a really successful voyage to Antarctica a few years ago. He's like, no, I'm out. My wife doesn't want me to go on any more voyages to cold places. They ask another guy, he says no. They keep going down the list. They get to their 6th choice for captain.
It's the one you always want.
Exactly. You really want to go to the Arctic with your 6th choice. Yeah.
What
Captain.
round was Tom Brady drafted? It's a compliment.
Captain's this guy called Franklin, and he's got 2 great ships. One is called the Erebus, one is called the Terror. These ships have been around for a while. They explored Antarctica with Ross. If you go to Antarctica today, there's a Mount Erebus and a Mount Terror named after the ships. They've been all over the world. They have a really, really badass steam engine sail hybrid propulsion system. So they're still sailing ships, but they have a steam engine that can kick in when they need it. So you get lodged in the ice, you can kick in your steam engine or whatever. So they take off, normal sailing across the Atlantic. They get up into the Arctic. They disappear. They fall off the face of the earth. Nobody knows what happens to them. Nobody sees them again. They just completely vanish. Over the next several years and decades, many voyages are sent out to try to find what happens to them, and clues keep popping up. Like they find, in an Inuit village, they find a Bible that seemed like maybe it belonged to the ship, or they find like a page from a logbook under a rock somewhere that suggests people got off the ship and walked for a while.
Mm-hmm. Seems like a great idea.
Yeah, totally. I mean, what we think happened is that the ships got lodged in the ice, everybody got out and walked, and the ships eventually went down. They finally found the ships, 2014 for the Erebus and 2016 for the Terror, I think. Mm-hmm. But yeah, it's just a haunting
You called
story.
me in the middle of the night when they found the Erebus, I think.
Yeah, I think that's right. It's a haunting story of people who got really, really, really cold before they died.
Yeah, there's a thing. There were allegedly these Inuit testimonies to seeing people or interacting with them, and one of my favorite elements of this story is that there is serious doubt cast on these because basically, and I will translate here, the Inuit guy might have just been messing with them, right?
Yeah.
Do you see a bunch of British guys starving on the ice? And he's like, yeah, I totally saw him. What were the names? Steve. I saw Steve.
But this is
Definitely saw him.
classic British guys dealing with Inuits over the years. The British guys are like, we're going to take our horse-drawn sleds to the South Pole or the North Pole. The Inuit guys are like, you should use dogs. And they're like, yeah, totally, dogs. Dog sleds.
Dogs pulling a sled.
Well, that's funny. They just didn't want to believe that the Inuits knew anything.
Yeah. Also, lastly, I just want to do this little test. If you're heading off into the great unknown and you are wondering whether you should go, and they tell you, hey, you're going on the Erebus, you're like, I can make it back. Sounds good. They're like, what are you going to be stationed on? The HMS Terror. You're like, you should probably not go. If they're saying, hey, the Terror? Yeah, I'm not getting on that ship.
Yeah, I'm going on the HMS Sinkable.
Yeah.
All right, you may have been wondering, I know you've been wondering, why Spencer had the Batavia, the Sultana, and the Erebus Terror ranked 1, 2, 3, while Brian had them ranked 2, 3, 4. We have come to our first controversy of the evening.
Oh, my God.
The white ship, which Brian, go ahead.
Thank you.
Let it out.
Thank you.
Yeah.
No, give it up for the white
That's
ship.
right.
A lot
Can we
of
hear
white
it?
ship heads out here, which Brian ranked first and Spencer ranked not at all.
Not at all.
Spencer, explain yourself.
This is
I'm
a
ignorant.
scandal.
By the way, I did not tell them what the final rankings were. They're finding this out in real time. So feel free to unleash bitter recriminations at each other.
I am going to go ahead and admit I have underestimated the white ship upon learning a lot about it, especially because it's one of my favorite things ever. Rich people dying.
That's right. So the white ship is my personal number one and my favorite shipwreck of all time.
It's got the best cartoon. Look at these faces.
It really does.
This story has absolutely everything. It has William the Conqueror. It has Game of Thrones style medieval power. I'm a writer for The Ringer. I am required to bring Game of Thrones into any conversation. Game of Thrones style medieval power politics. It has absolutely massive amounts of alcohol. It has a lone survivor who lived to tell the tale, which is something really, like a luxury good for the shipwreck. It's like the Birkin bag of shipwrecks. If you've got the lone survivor who lived to tell the tale. So how many of you guys know what happened when they buried William the Conqueror? Does anybody know the story of William the Conqueror's funeral? Yeah, so William the Conqueror dies. This is late 10th century, I guess. And like many rich people of that time, William the Conqueror has built a grand tomb to honor himself in life. But he did that when he was like 32.
Are you even balling if you don't have
If you don't have your own tomb already built?
Yeah.
So by the time he dies, he's conquered. He's done a lot. He's conquered a lot of dinners. He's gained weight. He cannot fit into his glorious tomb. So the monks decide we got to fit him into the tomb anyway. William the Conqueror's guts burst open as they're squishing him into the tomb, and the lesson there is, you can be called the conqueror, but you haven't won until you're actually in the ground. You
Have they
can
done a
still take the L.
Taskmaster episode about that, like recreates this?
Yeah,
That'd be a lot of fun.
So, can you?
Greg
can
Davis,
get
will you
him
give
in?
it points?
Yeah,
Well, what do you say when he's done with the tomb?
just filled
Absolute
with Vaseline.
hash.
So
They could use hash.
wait, what?
Nothing. That's next show.
Oh yeah, it's a while after he died, so it's not pretty. It's really not pretty. But shortly before
was
this
right.
happens, as William the Conqueror is dying, William the Conqueror is deciding what he's going to do with his land. So he's the King of England, he's the Duke of Normandy, and he's got 3 sons. So that's a problem. So one son becomes the King of England, one son becomes the Duke of Normandy, the other son gets a little bit of money and a pat on the back and told to be good. That son turns out to be a wholly amoral political genius who gets really lucky, ends up ruling England, Normandy, and basically becoming the most powerful medieval ruler of Western Europe at that time, or at least up there. He builds a dynasty, he has an heir, he defeats his mortal enemy, Louis the Fat, the King of France, who also probably can't fit into his tomb. Everything's going his way. They're sailing back from France after their final victory. A guy comes up to him and says, look, I am a ship's pilot. I got a ship, and you should ride on my ship because my father carried your father, William the Conqueror, north to England to conquer the country. The guy's like, well, Henry, the king, is like, that's amazing, but I already have my ship, so I'm going to let my son, my heir, ride on your ship.
These are Shanahan ancestors.
Yes.
Yeah.
Which is
Coaching
called the White
trees.
Ship.
Yeah.
So Henry the king and all the kind of like responsible older royals take off to the north, leaving all the young, cool, fun nobles in France to go on the White Ship. They have a few hours to go before they sail, and they decide to fill those hours by just drinking copiously, which is fine. It's what young nobles do. The problem is that they think it would be funny to get the rowers and the pilots of the ship to join in.
Hey,
So-
that's very egalitarian.
Oh,
of them.
totally. It's very like kind of them,
They're
but
the cool bosses.
This is like a pontoon boat party, really.
yeah. Everybody's having a good
There's
time.
a number of elements in this story that
Bo-
parallel a
boy, are
pontoon
there.
boat,
Yeah.
as you will
many
find
many
out.
things. So everybody gets I have this in my notes, just the words "everyone is drunk" underlined 3 times. They take off for England. They make it, I think, about a mile out of the port before they hit a rock. Everybody's rowing in different directions, like nobody knows where they're going. The ship flips over, everybody falls in, everybody drowns. William, the 17-year-old heir, is actually going to be okay. His bodyguards get him into the one lifeboat on the ship, and they're taking him away. But then he hears his half-sister crying out, "Don't leave me behind, don't leave me behind." So they turn the boat around, and they're rowing back to get her. And all the other hundreds of young nobles in the sea are clawing to get hold of the boat, and they just pull it in. Everybody freezes to death. Everybody dies.
There's a detail about her.
Oh yeah, her dress probably weighed about 40 pounds, so she was going
not-
down anyway.
She was not.
Yeah.
Ermine is heavy.
The shipwreck ends up leading. It takes out half the royal family, half the administrators of the kingdom. Henry dies without an heir. His entire legacy is destroyed. It leads to civil war in England. There's a period in England called the Anarchy that is a direct result of the sinking of the White Ship. But My personal favorite aspect of this shipwreck is that there's a guy on the ship who gets off at the exact last, like right before it sails, he gets off because he has really bad diarrhea. His name is Stephen of Blois, which I think is perfect because Blois is the sound you make as you're getting off a ship right before it sails because you have diarrhea. Blois. So he survives. His diarrhea saves his life, which how often can you say that? And that man later goes on to become King of England. I believe it's the most historically consequential bout of gastrointestinal distress in world history. Yeah.
I just see all of those guys wearing like fur and capes and things, and they're going in the water. And I hope at least one of them had the thought like, oh, this was a bad choice wardrobe-wise. Yeah. I didn't think about it. Tell me about the survivor.
There's one survivor of the white ship who is he's a butcher. He's the one guy on the ship who's not a rich guy, and he clings to the mast or some wreckage as it's all going down. And he's a butcher who got on the ship. He basically chased all the nobles on the ship because they'd been camped out in France buying stuff from his butcher shop on credit. And he was like, you owe me money. And he got on the ship to kind of chase them down in the hope of getting his debt paid. And I just imagine what was going through his mind as he's surviving the shipwreck, watching all these unpaid bills sink to the bottom of the English Channel. Like, it's so dark for him.
This is the one guy, I'm a big fan of Philadelphia News, and I watch it frequently. This is the one guy in the Philadelphia News who has an agenda coming into the interview and brings it in no matter what, right? If you're familiar with the guy who caught babies out of a house fire in Philadelphia but still found time to rag on Nelson Aguilar for dropping balls, that's this guy, right? So he gets to the shore and they're like, Action News Rouen, we're here talking with Jean-Claude, and they're like, tell us about the horrific scene. He's like, first of all, they all owe me money. Not a single one of them paid up. Second of all, they're all dead. I'm never getting the money. And they're like, thank you, Jean.
This is going to destroy a generation of European political stability, and I'm out 165 francs.
I know you're still mad about it. Yeah. I know he was. He got back to shore, and they're like, oh, isn't life a miracle? And he's like, 165 francs.
All right, we come to the last ship that both of you had ranked, although in divergent spots on the list. Spencer, you had it at 8. Brian, you had it at 5. Most of you are going to know this one, probably the most familiar one we have left. The USS Indianapolis. Oh, we got some oh-no's from the crowd.
We really didn't mention an important element in all of this that I think has become very clear, is that this has to be a very bad time to make the list.
Oh, yeah.
A real bad time. You're like, was it even remotely good? No, everyone here had a terrible time.
We have no bucolic shipwrecks on this list, I'm sorry.
Yeah.
There probably was a fun shipwreck at some point. I would like to find that one.
Yeah.
Like, just a shipwreck afterwards, everybody was like, you know what? I thought it would be bad, but that kind of ruled.
Yeah. You know?
Yeah. So the Indianapolis was a terrible choice to carry the core of what would be America's first nuclear weapons across the Pacific. So naturally, it was the ship they chose to transport nuclear weapons across the core of the nuclear weapons across the Pacific. In fact, Groves, who was heading up the Manhattan Project, when he found out about it, he was like, oh, that's a terrible choice. Why'd that happen? Who's responsible for that? So again, if you're at work and you're like, man, sometimes I feel like I don't have a handle on things. Neither did the guy running the Manhattan Project, right? So it's sent out. It makes it. They bolt the. You told me they bolt the core to the floor of the captains.
Yeah, this is my favorite thing about the Indianapolis. They've got this like core of uranium that's going to go in Little Boy, the bomb that they're going to drop over Hiroshima, and to transport it there, they put it in a steel case lined with lead and bolt it to the floor of the captain's quarters, which you just imagine waking up in the middle of the night to use the bathroom, and it's dark, and you're just like, oh God, don't trip. Don't trip on the atomic bomb.
I just imagine it making a noise too, like growling, glowing a little bit, you know? It's like, they didn't tell me about this at Annapolis. God. So the Indianapolis makes this, drops it off at Tinian and comes back, and on the way back, it is torpedoed.
Bad luck.
Yeah, just bad luck.
But also, like, fair enough at that
Yeah,
point.
the poor innocent Indianapolis. It happened. It's fair, and it happened. So it goes down, and it goes down very, very quickly.
Yeah.
And when it does, it sends out a distress signal. And when it sends out that distress signal, 3 radio operators receive it, and none of them do anything with it. One, because he was drunk, which I imagine like a week later, he connected A with B and was like, I'm never telling anybody about that shit. Yeah. This does put a ton of the sailors in the water, and it's going to put them in water for a very, very long time. Rescue should have come sooner. They are in the water for the better part of 3 days before anyone shows up. Over the course of that 3 days, very, very bad things happen, including, as noted in the film Jaws, shark attacks. First among the wounded and the dead, and then later the sharks are like, I'm not quite as picky. Well, then they start going
We've
for the
poured
living.
dim sum into the water for the sharks.
Basically, like from a
Just
shark's
take your
perspective,
pick.
the Indianapolis is a very different story.
Yeah.
Like, to be fair, right?
Maybe that's
Just
our
the
good time.
lunch buffet they never forgot.
Yeah.
A good time at a shipwreck is all a matter of who's telling the story.
If we had a shark on this panel, first of all, you're welcome. If you brought a talking shark to Ann Arbor, he would view it very differently. So they're in the water for an extraordinarily long time. Very bad things happen. If you don't know, by the way, you can get salt poisoning from being in the water too long. Like, that is a thing that can happen if you just sit in salt water. And yet there are still people who survive 3 days of exposure in the Pacific Ocean. And when they're found, naturally, everyone is like, when they're found, at one point, like, there's a float plane sits down, and it looks down, and they land, and they're planning on taking people out, and there's just so many people that they start stacking them on the wings. At one point, the pilot considers tying them to the wings and trying to take off. And at which point he's convinced by his crew, yeah, that's dumb. Don't do that. Here, just so they instead put them on there, have them wait until somebody shows up just to get them out of the water. It is a nightmare of a story.
So yeah, there are 1,195 crewmen on the ship. Only about 300 of them die in the shipwreck itself. So there's like almost 900 people in the water. 316 people make it out of the water alive. So two-thirds of the guys who survived the shipwreck didn't survive the float.
Yeah. There's the captain himself will live until, I believe, 1968. And he is initially court-martialed because he didn't zigzag. And I'm like, oh, come on, dude. Like, he's eventually retired as a rear admiral, and he will last for another 20 years. But people on Christmas will call him and say, this would have been a much better holiday if my son were alive. And then hang up the phone, right?
He's the only, there were hundreds of ships destroyed by enemy torpedoes in World War II. He's the only captain who got court-martialed
Yeah.
for losing a ship.
Yeah, the only one.
Yeah, and Paul Allen found it. I mean, this ship was...
This is where, again, I know I
No.
said I enjoy stories about rich people dying. We're going to give a pardon to Paul Allen, because Paul Allen was kind of awesome. Paul Allen, what did he do when he got rich? He bought a bunch of sports teams, okay? He made them cool. Like, he owned the Portland Trail Blazers, I believe, when they were the, AKA the Jail Blazers, like when they were really awesome. There's like 3 NBA people who are like, yeah. Zach Randolph, when he didn't even know what he was doing. Like Paul Allen, cool dude, learned to play the guitar. Like, that was it. Apparently he was really, really good. Like, professional guitarists were like, yeah, Paul Allen could shred. I'm like, that's exactly what you should do if you have billions of dollars. You're like, what are you going to do? I'm going to mess around and learn to play guitar, baby. Yeah. And found the Indianapolis because he was bored.
He went out on some exploration voyages to try to find old shipwrecks, and he found a bunch of old shipwrecks, including the Indianapolis.
Okay, from here on out, we are no longer in accord.
Welcome to the steam room.
Not a single ship remains on this list that was ranked by both of you.
We're ready.
This
First
is about
of all-
to turn very Fox Sports.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Ready to embrace debate? First of all, we do have a couple of tie breaks in the scores that I might let you guys fight it out over. But coming in at number 6 by virtue of being ranked 4th by Spencer and not at all by Brian, the MS Herald of Free Enterprise.
Okay, but
Brian, explain yourself.
This is a great shipwreck. It's just too small. It's just a little ferry, right? I mean, it's a little. it's just a little nothing.
When God sings with all his creations, the MS Herald of Free Enterprise won't be part of
All
the
right.
choir?
So
Is that what you're saying, Brian?
That's right.
Okay.
Why do you hate capitalism, Brian?
Do you think that the Herald of Free Enterprise should be part of the choir? The funny thing about the Herald of Free Enterprise is that the Herald of Free Enterprise had a sister ship called the Pride of Free Enterprise.
What happened to that one, Brian?
The same thing.
Okay. Yeah.
And that thing is,
So you have to understand, this is at the time when there is a great privatization of many of the ferry routes that originally ran from continental Europe to Great Britain.
yeah, we should
And-
say this is 1987, so like Thatcherite Britain.
Yeah,
like, at
right.
its peak.
Like, hey, why is oxygen free? We should look at that. Why do we have cheap ferries? They should cost more and crash all the time. And this guy has 3 of these, and they're all given these like gloriously Ayn Randian names, like the Herald of Free Enterprise, which is great because the irony is just like loading, because the Herald of Free Enterprise is a ro-ro ship, and the ro-ro ship has watertight compartments, and then it has this parking area, right, where you put cars on, right?
Yeah.
And it has these doors, and the doors keep the ocean out, and you need to close them.
Guys, guess how this ship sank?
Literally the
I'm not
only thing
making
you have
this
to
up.
do is
Guess how
close the
this
door.
ship sank. I would have
Yeah.
put this number 1, honestly.
Yeah. So, how does the ship sink? Right out of harbor, y'all. And do you know why it sinks? Someone left the doors open. Did someone notice this? So glad you asked. Yes. Did they ask someone about it? Uh-huh. You know what that person said? Not my job.
Wait, tell them why the assistant boatswain forgot to close the doors.
Because the guy was drunk in his office and asleep. That's it.
He was fast asleep.
Yeah, fast asleep.
Hey,
The pride
recovery
of
is an
free enterprise.
essential part of any fitness plan.
That's right.
The market spoke. And it, one might say, like a tide, flowing. With free access, that capsized this thing. And it capsized on March 6, 1987. And yeah, it capsized. It killed 193 passengers, which to me, by the way, when you go, hey, this is a little one, this is an outrageous number of
That
casualties.
is a lot of people to die. And
That is a lot of people to die.
And it's doubly tragic, I think, to die on a ship called, like, if you're boarding a ship called the Herald of Free Enterprise, you're just like, please don't let this end up in my obituary.
Yeah, please. I know there's
To
an
die
ironic
within
point.
rock spitting distance of
Belgium.
where you, yeah.
I know there's an ironic point that Socialist Poseidon really wants to make here, but don't make me part of it.
Yeah, the fun, you think that this kind of
No,
thing
this
is
was
like,
freshwater Aquaman.
Yeah.
Yeah.
the fictional version of this kind of story is like BioShock, right? It's like rich guy builds his own undersea city.
Yeah.
And then everything goes, no, it's just a little tugboat. Like,
If you've got one critique you want to make of our choices, it's this. We like really obvious writing, right?
Yeah.
The unsinkable ship, the Titanic.
Yeah.
Number 2. Special, yeah. The Herald of Free Enterprise. Yeah, it ends up on the
But we got
bottom.
to emphasize that the Pride of Free Enterprise, the sister ferry, it didn't sink, but it also left port with its doors open because the guy who was supposed to close them was asleep. That was 4 years earlier.
You know what? We should make sure
They
never
should write
happens
that
again.
down. Somebody should write that
They
down.
were like, they put it on a Post-it, and the Post-it just eventually like dried out and fell.
Yeah. So again, if you're on a plane sometime and you go, "Isn't anyone going to close that door?" You're thinking right.
Yeah, ask.
You ask.
Raise
You
your
make sure,
hand.
yeah.
You see something, say something.
Yeah.
We should also say that there was an inquiry. There was like a parliamentary
Mm-hmm.
inquiry into the company that owned the Herald of Free Enterprise that found gross negligence and incompetence at every level of the corporation. Like there was no division of the corporation that was not affected. It was just like the worst company
Yeah.
in the world.
The buck had no stops. It
That's
just-
right. The buck just
Yeah, it did
fluttered
not
off the
stop anywhere.
desk
It
because
just
they
fluttered
forgot
off
to
the
close
desk
the
and
desk
out,
door.
Right? Yes. I will say at my rankings, by the way, I will accept a lower ranking for this one. I will, because I overranked it due to irony. Sorry. I'm a slave to it.
No,
I
irony is
honestly
like a huge-
disagree. I know this is not my fight.
Okay.
I don't get to decide, but I would put this up top.
Okay.
Yeah.
We can advance.
All right, number 7, ranked 5th by Spencer, not at all by Brian, which moves it to 7 in our composite rankings. HMHS Britannic.
Oh, you're passionate about this one.
I
am.
I didn't
am.
know about this
I'm
one.
possibly willing to accept a slightly lower ranking, but it's still going somewhere in my top 10 because the Britannic is the sister ship of the Titanic. And you might say, hey, it's another coattail rider. And I'll tell you, don't judge all Nepo babies the same because the Britannic itself, okay, one, it did something Titanic never did. It sailed again.
It
This is
got
the-
that all-important second voyage, which you
So
want.
this is Jimmy Clausen
Yes, this is Jimmy. Yeah,
in this family, right? Okay.
this
This is truly the shipwreck for everyone with an annoying older sibling.
yeah,
Yeah.
Who
I know
eventually
you're thinking, which Clausen is the Titanic? It's Rick. No, it's Casey.
Yeah. But eventually proving to be more competent than its sister ship. There are 3 of them, and all of them will come into play here, okay? So it gets everything the Titanic doesn't. Gets the glow up, gets a double hull, right? But doesn't go around saying it's unsinkable, right? Learning all the lessons that its sibling did not. It also is about to go make all of that money back for the White Star Line when World War I hits and it's requisitioned as a hospital ship. But that's cool. You get to do some nonprofit work, all right? It's good for the resume, right? Then you'll go to law school afterwards, and then you'll work for a big evil firm and make 9 figures a year. Good job. But the Britannic never gets to that stage because in the middle of a pretty nice, distinguished record of service as a hospital ship, it hits a mine. And it hits a mine off the island of Kea in the Greek archipelago. And when it does, by the way, you say, okay, here comes the horrible part. Spencer's put all the really nasty, horrible ones in here. It's not so bad. It's really not so bad. There is one horrible thing. The captain, super competent, gets everyone off the ship, okay? There's really only 30 casualties because someone on the port side of the ship freaks out, deploys 2 lifeboats early, and sends 30 people into the screws, all right, while they're still turning. And the captain's like, not my bad. We'll blame that guy later.
Next play.
Yeah, next play, next man up, right? So they get everyone else off. There's a tremendous number of people. By the way, in stretchers, sick people, people who are convalescing, the injured, they all get off this boat. Everything's going swimmingly. It goes so swimmingly, by the way, that the captain does what I think is the best instance of aura farming we have seen yet in any of these, which is this. When the ship is sinking, it is going bow first. And of course, the ship is sinking slowly, so you have time to do stuff. You have time to coordinate. You've got time to go get your captain's log or whatever, and you've got all your stuff, and you're ready to go.
You can arrange the selfie.
Yeah,
You
yeah.
get it all, yeah.
Exactly. You can be like, LOL, going down. Take the shot, right? You can do whatever they did in World War I, which I guess is get on the telegraph and be like, dearest Penelope, I am thinking of your ankles. Love, Captain. The telegraph operator's like, just pervert. God. I get this stuff all the time. So the dude does the coolest thing I've heard of, which is this. According to witnesses, he and his first mate both go, right, rescue done. Everyone except the idiot who sent 30 people into the screws, totally smooth. He steps off of the bridge, which is sinking, directly into the perfectly level water that is rising to meet. So he just steps off and swims to his boat. He's just like, toodles, goes right to the boat. He knew it looked cool too, right? He knew. He was like, cons, ship sank. Pros, I'm looking pretty boss. So he goes off, he and the first mate get to the ship.
He trusted the process and was rewarded.
Yes. And everything's cool, right? This is, why do you find this remarkable, okay? I find it remarkable because of Nurse Violet Jessup. Nurse Violet Jessup. Does anyone know this name? Does anyone know who Violet Jessup? You are a freak.
Wow. Of course they do.
Love you for that.
There's at least 3 of you.
Yeah.
Okay. Violet Jessup gets off this ship, I will tell you, totally unpanicked, because she's done this before. Because Violet Jessup was also on the Titanic. So not only has she
Every fucking time.
No one carpooled with Violet Jessup ever again. I'll get my own ride to work. Thanks, bye.
You think you couldn't get the hang of Thursdays?
Yeah, Violet Jessup survived the Titanic a few years earlier, and then in 1916 survives the sinking of the Britannic, the sister ship. And I'm not done, because Violet Jessup also was on board as a stewardess for the White Star Line on board the 3rd of these ships, the Olympic, when it collided with a British warship leaving Southampton. Are you wondering, did she live forever after this? Yes. She lived to be like 90, all right? So, yeah, so I'm cheating because the Britannic itself is not remarkable, but a lady being on all three of the semi-cursed White Star ships, right, and being on the two that actually sank in grand fashion is mind-blowing to me.
It's also funnier that it's also like funnier than if it was a dude, and I can't explain this why, but like it kind of gives her an air of blamelessness about the whole thing, because if it's a guy on all three of these, I'm like, he had something to do with it. But I don't know. She has a halo around her.
Yeah, she's a nurse, and she's kind of like, prim 19
Right.
teens, like lady with her little medicine bag or whatever.
The best part is that she was her job was listed as stewardess for the White Star Line, which means, and she didn't retire for another 20 years, which means she got back on a boat and was like, what are the chances of that happening again?
Give me her first day back. I know they didn't have break rooms, but her first day back, like, hey, Violet. Hey, Violet. Hey, Violet. Splash.
Violet was also struck by lightning.
Flicking water on her every time she passes.
Yeah, she's up in my Hall of Fame of like improbable people with the guy who saw both the explosions at both Hiroshima and at Nagasaki, right? Like just people where you go, buy a lottery ticket, right? Come to Vegas with me, whatever it is, all right? That's why I have the Britannic this high. So I'll admit, I probably weighted it a little too much. It's not a really remarkable sinking. I just wanted to tell you all about Violet Jessup because I knew you'd be like, no way, because that's how I was.
I also think, like, in the shipwreck enthusiast community, we need
is us,
which is
up
just
here.
like
Yeah.
us and like that guy who knew. Yeah, every once in a while, you want a shipwreck that ends pretty well for people. Like this was a ship where like 30 people died and over 1,000 people were saved, and like
the 30 people are like, what are you talking about?
those 30 people are like, I was thrown into a propeller screw.
Yeah.
That's not, but it's relatively nice. It's like a palate cleanser. We got more sharks coming, so.
All right, let's see what's next. Uh-oh. We have a tie in the composite rankings.
Oh boy.
Okay.
All right, fighting it out for spots 8 and 9. Not ranked by Spencer, ranked at 6 by Brian, the Mary Celeste. Ranked at 6 by Spencer, not ranked by Brian, the Princess Alice. Brian, there's a note here from Mary Celeste that I'm going to read. Not technically a shipwreck, but come on. Do you want to unpack your thinking a little bit on this?
So, I don't know, some of you probably know the Mary Celeste. With the Mary Celeste, this is 1872. The ship was fine. Everybody on board just disappeared. They found the ship drifting. Nobody was on it. The ship was totally seaworthy. The last log entry was 10 days earlier. Didn't mention that they were all about to take off. The lifeboat was missing. Nobody knows what happened. Nobody who was on it was ever heard from again. There's not really much to say about it because it's just the Roanoke of shipwrecks. It's just a complete mystery.
I will agree that it is eerie and scary. But ship did not sink, nor did it wreck. Ship did nothing wrong.
Spencer,
actually.
tell you what, we're trying to figure out who's 8 and who's 9 here. Make your case for the Princess Alice, and then we'll have the lovely audience vote.
Okay, I'm going to make a case for the Princess Alice because I believe very strongly in it.
Yeah,
Okay.
I like the Princess Alice.
Yeah, and I think I can sell Brian on it based strictly on some extremely daffy and horrifying British, specifically London.
Actually, hang on one second. I'm going to tell them why we're having the audience vote on this, because I tried to have Spencer and Brian fight the tiebreakers out among themselves, and on 2 different occasions in the bottom half of the top 10 here, they both flipped and switched sides and said, no, the other guy's shipwreck is better than mine.
We're not even addressing.
It just created more ties because they kept being like, no, his was better.
We're not even addressing the havoc that the white ship is going to play because I'm like, a bunch of oils at the bottom of the ocean. This is awesome. So I'm really going to have to revisit that.
Deep down, we just love shipwrecks,
Yeah. So
Ocean term.
ocean term. The Princess Alice. This is another semi-obscure one. I found out about this one from the fantastic podcast, Well, There's Your Problem, where they covered this. And I'm getting it because it's gross. It's gross and it's extremely British because on September 3rd, 1878, the Princess Alice is heading downriver in London, and it collides with the SS Bywell Castle. And it does so at a point, and it's loaded with people who are going, it's heading north because it's going to the gardens. We're going to go to the gardens. It's like such a 19th century thing to do, right? They're like a bunch of people who are obviously watercolor, because, everybody in the 19th century is watercolor. And they're all wearing like fancy hats, right? And they're all thinking about Penelope's ankles, or they are Penelope. And they are all heading up for we're going to take the night cruise, and we'll go up there. But first they have to go through a point in the river where, twice daily, they disgorge all of London's shit, all of the poop. They're
75 million pounds, gallons, 75 million gallons of sewage released twice a day.
Released twice a day. Also, by the way, just in the neighborhood, chemical plants, right? All of the nasty stuff in London is basically right there, and it's just disgorging into the river at all times, right? Described thusly, by the way. 2 continuous columns of decomposed fermenting sewage, hissing like soda water with baneful gases, so black that the water is stained for miles and discharging a corrupt charnel house odor that will be remembered by all as being particularly depressing and sickening.
It's fermenting for some reason there is really what's selling
The
me on
soda,
this.
that's the bubbly.
Hissing. Yeah, you don't want your sewage to be making noise.
Yeah. At 10 o'clock, that 75 million gallons of sewage is disgorged into the Thames. And at 11 o'clock, the Bywell Castle hits the Princess Alice. And when it does, it sinks in 4 minutes flat. All right?
Hundreds of people dumped into the sewage.
Yeah, some people don't make it out. It's like 200 people below decks in the bar. Frankly, reading about this put me in the bar. That's awesome.
Oh, God, yeah.
Yeah, the last thing I remember is like, done. Great. I died with a beer in my hand, and I don't have to experience the rest of this. Because they all get out in the water, and they all hit the water. And the rescue, of course, if you know, before, say, 1940 or 50 in both the United States and Britain, your idea of the fire or rescue squad is notional at best, right? I don't know if you've been to a city that has like an old fire tower, but like I went to Yangon in Myanmar, and there's a tower, and you're like, what's that for? And they're like, oh, if they saw a fire, they're like, go over there. Because they didn't have phones. They don't have any sort of reliable way of communicating at the time to get somebody over there. So there's like very few people to rescue. There's people who just drag boats and go over there. But the people in the water go into 75 million gallons of raw sewage being pumped into the water. 15 people die afterwards just from being in the water. And I'm like, that's what I would have done. It's like, if I had the choice, you're like, yeah, would you want to survive that? Nah, just kill me. It's fine. Take it. It sinks in 4 minutes. It's horrifying. 600 to 700 dead because they're not sure, because people switched out tickets. Normally they would have gone to count the tickets, but people, you could go anytime on the ferry and just go anywhere as long as you had a ticket. So people would switch them out so many times they weren't even sure how many people were on board.
Yeah, this shipwreck also prompted some legislation to clean up the river a little bit. And it made me think about types of reform legislation that I don't want in my own obituary. And I don't want to die in such a way that they think we need to stop dumping so much sewage into the river.
Yeah.
And to honor him.
If you had like anti-eaten by dogs legislation, and it was called the Spencer Hall Memorial Anti-Eaten by Horde of Dogs in front of his loved ones legislation, you don't want that.
Yeah.
You don't want your name on that.
Yeah.
All right, show of hands. Mary Celeste, number 8.
Oh yeah, no, this is a clear
Princess Alice, number 8. We're Democrat. Princess
Well,
Alice,
yeah.
all right.
Yeah. Thank you, yeah.
We got through way more of these than I thought we did, but we are coming up on time for the dark match. So I'm going to give you guys like 30 seconds each to make your case, because second tiebreaker. Both of you ranked these next 2 ships number 7. Or one of you ranked each of these 7, and one of you ranked these not at all. Brian, you had the Queen Anne's Revenge. You're all laughing about the Costa Concordia, though, aren't you? Fan favorite. There's fist pumping in the crowd for the Costa.
Where my Scatino head's at.
For the Costa Concordia. All right, Spencer first. 30 seconds. I'm not timing you. I'm just guessing. Make your case for Costa Concordia.
The boatmaster was so mad at the captain of this ship for abandoning it that he told him to get back on the fucking boat. And then that guy ran for Italian Parliament, made it, and was kicked out of his party for violating ethics codes. That is my pitch.
All right, Mr. Phillips, your retort for the Queen Anne's Revenge.
Blackbeard, it's Blackbeard's ship. You can't have a shipwrecks list that does not include Blackbeard's ship. Come on. Age of piracy, the absolute heart of everything to do with shipwreck lore, desert islands, buried treasure. It's pirates. It's Blackbeard. That's his ship. Sank off the coast of North Carolina. They found it in 2013. They didn't know it was Blackbeard's ship for a while, and then they found a French syringe meant to be inserted into the urethra to fight venereal disease, and they were like, oh no, that's Blackbeard's ship.
Okay, that's a strong finish there. All right, show of hands for the Costa Concordia. Oh, Brian, you may have closed this. Show of hands for the Queen Anne's Revenge. Oh!
It was the penis syringe
It was
that did
definitely
It was a syringe, wasn't it?
Yeah. I gotta mention that next time.
All right, so that puts the Queen Anne's Revenge at number 10 and Costa Concordia at our also receiving votes. We did go down as far as 15, but we're going to have to save that for another time. We're going to have to come back because it's dark match time. Thanks, everybody watching online. Goodbye. Wish you were here.